And we're ready. And we're steady. And we go. Ho 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 ho. Hello, hello, hello everybody. Welcome to the stream where we've got a lot of stuff to discuss because I have been busy for basically the entire day today. And a lot of stuff has happened. So, in this stream, I'm going to talk through the Zetera stuff, which is incredibly complicated and seems to be going in a lot of weird directions. A little bit along the sort of Delap lines, because we've had a little bit of discussion around that happening recently. A little bit on Ditmir Hodja, who has a very, very weird, very Eastern European name, which is relatively difficult to pronounce. I feel like I may have gotten that one wrong. And a little bit on the big one. The one that we are all sort of attentive to at the moment, because it's a very, very weird little bit of news to have come out seemingly from nowhere, being Mykhailo Mudryk. The striker that we have signed is Ditmir Hodja, but I'll get into him in a little while. But before we do all of that, I thought we'd have a little bit of a fun introduction to the stream. I think a lot of streams, we don't have enough little games and stuff. We don't have enough sort of Superbait title. I mean, it's not. We did. Did we or did we not sign a striker? Right, fine. If you want, I will adjust the title. Bid rejected. Leeds United. Leeds pursue Mudryk after signing striker. But in brackets, I'll put young, just so everyone's a little bit happier with that. There we go. Bid rejected. Leeds pursue Mudryk after signing young striker. There we go. Tidies things up a little bit. Hello, Joe would like Mudryk. I don't know how I'd feel on Mudryk, but we'll get into that one a little bit later. Is it for the first team, though? No, he's not a first team centre forward yet. Yet being the important word. Although I could have said Leeds sign European striker because he played in Conference League qualifying the other week. But anyway, diving into it, we've got our first little segment. I'm going to do a couple of segments in this one. It's quite fun. Because we all know it can be very, very, very difficult to pronounce the names of various footballers. But sometimes you can get it right, and that's always nice and satisfying. So what we're going to do today is we are going to go to Twitter. We're going to go to Leeds United's most recent video, and we are going to go to the, hold on a minute, Arsenal cutting through, Rice, is that Calafiori? Please be Calafiori. Fucking hell. 2-0 Arsenal. Jesus, it's not going well for them, is it? Have we signed a striker? We have. He is an under-21 striker, but I'm going to have to keep emphasising that one because I've realised that it was maybe a little bit... I emphasised the wrong bit there. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to show the name of the person... Well, we're going to show the person. We're going to try and pronounce the name of the person. Then we'll see how we go. There we go. So, to begin with, we got this lad. I'm going to go Daniel Farke, to be completely honest. And I feel like I might have gotten that one right. Let's give it a second.
Daniel Farke.
There's more of a Fark than a Farker. Okay, I'm guessing we all got that one right. Full points for everybody. Wonderful. Next up, James Trafford. This is James Trafford. We know that this is James Trafford. It's not going to be pronounced in a funny way, although I have a feeling after the interview that he had the other week, he might not pronounce it in the most eloquent way. We'll see.
James Trafford.
James Trafford. Fair enough. Proper northern way. Jayden Bogle. We know this one.
Jayden Bogle.
Easy peasy. Gabby Gudmundsson, or Gabriel Gudmundsson, I suppose.
Gabriel Gudmundsson.
Gabriel Gudmundsson. We'll keep that in mind. Right, everyone, we'll be ready on that one. We'll get into the transfer stuff after this. I just want to be 100% that we've got all of this, because I will be recording my sort of preview video for tomorrow in a little bit, and I need to make sure I got all the names down, you know?
Ethan Ampadu.
I went for too long, but we all know Ethan Ampadu. Oh. Tariq. I'm going to go Muremovic. I don't know if it's got the HA being pronounced. I'm going to go Muremovic, but we'll see.
Tariq Muharemovic.
It's got the ha. Muharemovic. Wait.
Muharemovic.
Nope, I need the whole thing.
Muharemovic.
Muharemovic. There we go. Muharemovic. Joe Rodham.
Joe Roden.
Or Joe Roden. Okay.
Daniel J.
You were too fast there, Dan. Like, we all know that was coming, but that's fine.
Sean Longstaff.
Sean Longstaff.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Okay.
Harry Wilson. Brendan Aronson.
These are
Lucas Mecha.
these are the easy ones.
Diol.
Anton Stach.
We know you.
Noah Okafor.
We know you.
Alex Cairns.
Yep.
Al Tanaka.
Yep.
Lucas Perry.
Lucas Perry does not look too happy to be here, does he?
James Juster.
Yep.
Wilfred Nyonto.
Nyonto.
Nico Elvedi.
I like that they just had to cut to him doing a completely different thing. That was great.
Sam Chambers.
Ilya Gruev.
Reese Chadwick.
Rory Mahadi.
I always thought it was Mahadi. But it's Mahadi. Right, okay. There we go. We actually learned something here.
Alfie Cresswell.
Yep.
Jaden Lianu.
Lianu? That one I've also learned. I didn't know it was Lianu, but cool. All good.
Callum Mills.
That one's just Callum Mills. Anyway, that's all of that stuff done. I just wanted to get an idea if I had the names all right. But Lianu, we've learned. Okay, so into the first bit of news, and I will get to the striker that Leeds United have signed before anyone else, because I've got a few notes on him. He's not really a well-known centre-forward, but he's someone that I think has a decent amount of potential to him, and we'll see what direction he's going in, because I think he has a lot of room to grow into the future. So, his name is Ditmir Hodja. I will try and find the Leeds United post on him, just so I can make sure I've got everything 100% spot on. I don't want to make any silly mistakes, you know? We all make mistakes sometimes. I completely forgot that the third kit was also released today. And that's madness. Right, there we go. Bring this up. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Is it where? What? There it is. 11. There we go. Right, Ditmir Hodja. Here he is. What a guy. So, the general sort of basics on this guy. He's an 18-year-old, which is going to make the bits that I say in a moment's time a little bit more unbelievable. This 18-year-old is 6'4". Jesus, puberty hit this guy like a train. Big guy, very, very physical, and he knows how to use it to an incredible level. He's played in Macedonia's top flight already. He had like 22 appearances last season in the top tier of Macedonian football, which is not bad in the slightest. 6 goals in those, which is also fantastic. Remember, this guy at the time was 17, playing senior football, which is a big step up to take. And in the time since, he's taken part in UEFA Europa Conference League qualifying, which means that, again, he's played a little bit of European football, a lot of senior stuff, not at the top level, very obviously. Hold on, Arsenal are in behind again. Yeah, but very obviously not the very, very top level of European football, because he's 18 and young and is signing for our under-21s. But at the end of the day, as under-21 signings go, this guy is very, very good and has a very, very strong future ahead of him. The way that we did it was we invited him over for a trial, performed incredibly well in said trial, and let's be completely honest here, if you're invited over from Macedonia for a trial, it's going to go pretty damn well. Sorry, North Macedonia. I know that the Greeks don't like it just being called Macedonia. But it's all vaguely pointing in the right direction, because I've been saying for quite some time that what Leeds United need to do is invest significantly more in those under-21s. Because we know that the under-21s and the previously 23s have been basically sucked dry for a while. It's been a case of, oh, okay, Strouk, gone. Somerville, gone. Archie, gone. Harry, loan. Which means that who's left there is not of the best standard. I'd say that in the nicest way possible. We do have very, very, very good under-21 still. But it's more a case of the investor deck that we saw last season effectively stated that the club need to make a young signing, a young sale every 2 years, a decently valued young sale every 2 years, in order to be properly sort of sustainable and continue growing by doing recruitment in other academies, not only across Yorkshire, but across the entire north of England. Jaden Lianu being an example, we saw that Liverpool were sort of not giving him exactly what he wanted, so our response was, okay, so we will do that for you, and that will put you in the right direction. Lianu saw that, went, okay, absolutely, I will join Leeds United, and is effectively thriving at the level that he's currently playing at, which is genuinely wonderful. Hold on, Arsenal, again, coming down the flank. I might be tempted to get Solis in, to be honest with you, if he's going to start regularly. Odegaard, that was not the one, my guy. But this is another sort of part of that. This is one of those signings that you know is going to improve the 21s now, and then in the foreseeable future potentially make his way into the first team. It might be after a loan or two, I don't know, but generally the idea of reinforce the youth ranks is an absolute positive and can only be seen as a win for me. You guys know how I feel about this sort of academy and building youth from the bottom up. I think this is a very, very, very nice move, and I'm ultimately feeling very positive about it. A little bit of chat on Liam Delap, which I think is quite important. Yesterday the news sort of emerged that Chelsea are looking to sell him for £50 million. Leeds are one of the sides that reportedly think that we can sign him for £40 million, which I will be completely honest, and I'm going to stand by this view, I think is too much money for Liam Delap. I think there is vastly more value to be found across Europe in multiple different age groups, multiple different sort of individual players. Why spend 40 million quid on Liam Delap when we might not even have 40 million quid left in the budget and we have a lot of roles to fill? Frankie Lino was linked for about 20 million pounds. For a little bit of context, you can get a very, very, very good player for comfortably less than we ended up having to pay for Liam Delap, which is, well, not having to pay, but we will have to pay, because let's be honest, it's not going to be a case of his price is going to go down much from 40 million quid when that's already coming down from 50 million quid. It's not the best of spots. Personally, I wouldn't want Liam Delap unless we were managing to get it in incredibly positive financial terms. Not for me, is the way that I'm going to leave that, because I don't want to sort of overly sort of go in on it. But that has been, I would say, thankfully dispelled by the YEP, who have basically said that that is not going to happen. I've got no issue with that. Puts us in the right direction. Now, next up on the list, we have to talk about Zetterer, who is the goalkeeper that was was Zetterer at Frankfurt, or was he somewhere else? I don't know. For some reason, I've not got my notes on Zetterer in front of me. Yes, Frankfurt. Who was at Frankfurt last season? 22 appearances. Same number of appearances as Ditmir Hodja, which is quite interesting. Played to a reasonable standard, but was fighting for the number one shirt. Made it very, very sort of difficult for him because he wants number one shirt football. Even more difficult for him, Frankfurt are looking at signing Noah Achibolu, who is a very, 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 very good goalkeeper, and they want to sort of massively improve in that region, which is completely fine, because at the end of the day, Zetterer's numbers aren't the numbers that you would need to be a number one goalkeeper at that level. Fine by me. I'm not going to complain for a second. However, things have gotten a little bit funny around all of this for a few little reasons. So The Athletic were absolutely convinced that this is going to be one of those that gets done, which is great. I'm very, very happy about that, because very, very clearly a good footballer. Well, at least a good enough footballer to fulfill that role is the way that I'm going to be putting that. The bit that complicates it is the fact that Zetterer's agent then went on to say, hold on, oh my god, Arsenal are actually taking the piss. Right, okay. Zetterer's agent then went on to say that no, there isn't a deal waiting for Zetterer to be done. He's not leaving, which is an incredibly weird thing to happen when The Athletic, which of all the various sports journalist brands are one of those that tend to be absolutely spot on when they release stuff, they like a level of certainty. It doesn't add up. And I am doing everything that I can to work out what's going on behind the scenes of this one, and in the time since, we've still had various people saying, yeah, I'm still fairly sure that this one happens, which invites even more confusion, because, well, Isaac Johnson is still saying that Leeds are confident of signing Michael Zetterer. So, the fuck is going on there? And at the same time, there's a little bit of weirdness around Joel Piroux, because we know that Joel Piroux is... Not Joel Piroux, that's the wrong one. Lucas Perry, there we go. Same kind of vibe in terms of naming it. Lucas Perry is very probably on the way out. He wants away because he wants to be playing some football. We want him out because we can find an alternative in the form of Zetterer. everything is pointing towards an exit for Lucas Perry, except the fact he's not gone yet. We know he went for a medical a very, very long time ago, so the question is, what's the hold-up? And in my opinion, I think the hold-up is probably the fact that we've not gotten a backup goalkeeper in yet. It will be the case that Leeds do not want to be going into the season with, hold on, Arsenal potentially countering, never mind, well done Kai Havertz, that we don't want to be swinging into the season with Alex Cairns as the backup goalkeeper, because you're going to want a little bit more strength in depth before that. So it's a case of wait for someone to come in before Perry goes out. Which is why, to deal with what Dr. Cox has said here, Lucas Perry's gotten a squad number. My theory on why Perry got that squad number is effectively because we're seeing a world in which Lucas Perry might need to be there on Saturday. It might be a case of Trafford starts. Obviously Trafford starts, that's not a question. But if we don't think that Alex Cairns is good enough to be that number 2 option in goal, we're going to need Lucas Perry. And if you're putting Lucas Perry on the bench, Lucas Perry needs a squad number, and that's my sort of prediction on what's gone on there. Giving him a squad number isn't a way of saying, yes, Lucas Perry is definitely staying this season. It is more a case of, this is something that needs to happen in order to put you in a squad. It's not something to be overly read into, it's just have a squad number, we'll see you on Saturday. And then ideally, you'll be over in Italy soon enough. Perry's injured allegedly. The way that I saw it, though, was sprained finger, and you do not call off a transfer for a sprained finger. Sprained fingers fix in no time at all, and we've apparently seen Lucas Perry in training at Leeds United. So that entire situation, Saka is just making mincemeat of Coventry at the moment, by the way. But that entire situation is incredibly confusing, because that injury isn't enough to keep him out for an extended period. Add on to the fact that he's been seen in training for Leeds United. Don't understand it. I think the 23 shirt is fine. It's not a shirt that goalkeepers tend to take. Second choice goalkeepers will, as a rule of thumb, go for 13. I don't know why off the top of my head. I think it was some sort of tradition. I've read about it once. But hold on. Actually, I'm going to Google it. Why not? We'll see. Why do keepers choose number 13? 13 became a customary choice for a substitute keeper sitting on the bench. Squad registration rules. That's part of why. Because in La Liga, for example, goalkeepers need to be registered with specific numbers, traditionally 1, 13 and 25. So a lot of goalkeepers pick that up because that allows you to have the same number from league to league to league. 13, still open. So I think that'll probably be the direction that we're going in. How am I anyways? I'm doing alright, to be honest. I hope you're doing particularly well. Perry got Bournemouth shirt number from last season. Yeah, this is another reason that I'm not super concerned. Like, it's basically a disposable shirt number, to be completely honest, and I'm not going to complain at that because, whatever. It is good that we're releasing things in the new grey shirts, though, because I quite like them. Very, very, very pretty third kit. And Adidas have been very, very good to us. I enjoy it. But that's not what this is mainly about. A lot of people that will have been clicking upon this stream will have been confused by all of the conversation that has been floating around regarding Mykhailo Mudryk. Now, the story of Mykhailo Mudryk in recent seasons is a weird one. And the way that I'm going to talk this one through is I'm going to have a look at his Wikipedia page. Because I want to get the timeline right on this. So, for Shakhtar Donetsk, there we go. He played a grand total of 29 times. He got 9 goals, but he was apparently impressive enough for Chelsea to say, yes, we could do with one of you. Chelsea threw fucking money at the guy. £62 million rising to 89. Genuinely madness. Ridiculously high sum of money, I think, to pay for Mykhailo Mudryk, who is absolutely not worth that much cash. Not so good, currently homeless in a hotel for 3 nights. Oh, damn. Okay. Well, I hope everything's alright, and stick with it, because the way you put it, for 3 nights, that's a short enough amount of time. You got this, you can get through, and you can come out of it better. I believe in you. But, Mykhailo Mudryk, €100 million, £89 million, is a hell of a lot of cash. So, obviously, Chelsea think, okay, we've got to make out as much as we can out of this, because, Jesus Christ, he's expensive. They did that in January of 2023. Under 2 years later, December 2024, let's have a very... I'm going to read this word for word, so I don't potentially libel myself. On the 17th of December 2024, it was reported that the FA had provisionally suspended Mudryk after testing positive for doping. On the 5th of June 25, his number 10 shirt was given to Cole Palmer, meaning he no longer had a designated squad number with Chelsea. Later that month, on the 18th of June, the FA charged him with violating anti-doping rules in which he could face a 4-year ban. On the 29th of April 2026, Mudryk was given a 4-year ban from the Premier League lasting until 2028. He appealed against the decision. On the 31st of July 2026, all charges were dropped. He became available to play again. The club statement explains that advances in various reporting standards mean that his sample's been analysed under today's requirements. It wouldn't be reported as a positive test at the time, and a no anti-doping rule violation would have resulted. Since he's played a single friendly for Chelsea in 20 months. And this is where I think the conversation around Mudryk gets difficult for me. So before I get onto why it's difficult, I'm going to go through the sort of details around what's happened so far, what Leeds United are doing. Leeds have made a bid for a loan so far, which was rejected. Which, fine, there are reasons for this. Chelsea reportedly want a guarantee that Mykhailo Mudryk is going to get minutes. Obviously, when we know that Leeds United do not do that, we do not give just guaranteed minutes to players. It's part of the reason that Jed Spence was so pissed off a lot of the time, and eventually just left without any particular trace. It's part of the reason that Connor Roberts wasn't really seen at right back, because he wasn't especially good enough to get past Archie, and it's the reason that we haven't signed, I believe, too many players on loan, because when a, say, top 6 club wants to get a player to develop, they will say, we want to guarantee that they have minutes. Daniel Farke's sides have not really done loans from top 6 clubs, which says to me that we're not guaranteeing minutes, but Chelsea want that. In addition to that, Chelsea also reportedly want Mykhailo Mudryk to go to Strasbourg in this weird little incestuous group that they've got going on by the name of Blueco. Chelsea's owners also own Strasbourg, and they basically use them as a holding pen for all of the excess players that they have signed, which is, in my personal opinion, probably a breach of various footballing rules. So if I have a very quick look at Strasbourg's transfer market over the past couple of years, and it's not going to be a pretty sight. There's going to be a hell of a lot of links between two specific sides. Whilst Chelsea want a move to Strasbourg for him, that isn't reportedly what Mykhailo Mudryk wants. What Mudryk wants instead of a move to Strasbourg is to stay in the Premier League, and I kind of understand that. Ligue 1, when it comes to standard of play, is bad. It's not very good. Hold on. If I just search straight there, because for some reason Transfermarkt is being useless. Just search Strasbourg transfers. I'll go to transfer feed and see if that says anything. Not rumoured arrivals, not target tracker, not contract negotiation. Just give me a fucking list of what has actually happened. There we go. 25-26, right? The amount of business that Strasbourg did with Chelsea. So, they signed Ben Chilwell on a free. Ishe Samuel Smith on a free, Mamadou Sarr on loan, Anselmino on a loan, Mike Penders on a loan, Kendry Paez on a loan, David Datro Fofana on a loan, that's 7, Matisse Amugu on a permanent, we're on 8 already, who left to go to Chelsea? Mamadou Sarr, Samuel Smith, yeah, there's a little bit much going on, and the season before, on loan, they had Petrovic. Valentin Barco was not a Chelsea player at that point, but I think he is now, which is, again, weirdly incestuous, considering that they signed him from Brighton rather than Chelsea, but that's a bit weird. And Kendry Paez. The amount of business that these sides do with each other is frankly ridiculous. And I can understand why Chelsea want to send him there, because Chelsea can basically say, yeah, you're going to play him all the time, or the manager gets sacked. Because at the end of the day, Chelsea are the bigger club there. Chelsea are the ones that are like, yeah, we will just make all the decisions. Strasbourg, you will have to deal with it, which from the Strasbourg perspective is a bit nasty. very much looking like it's going to be complicated. I think if Chelsea are able to find a move with guaranteed minutes in the Premier League, they would absolutely take that, but we will not be the ones offering it, in my opinion. It's been said multiple times on all of the leagues that Leeds are one of several Premier League clubs, and at the end of the day, Mudryk is one of several players that we are looking at to fill that role, and I don't feel like we're the kind of side that are happy to be sort of coaxed and coerced into a deal that doesn't work for us. We're a little bit more careful than that at the moment, which is probably a good thing. So, when it comes to do we sign him or not, that's where the question comes in. Because at the end of the day, he is a player that had a lot of quality to him. Very, very quick, very, very creative, but at the same time, a lot of Chelsea fans would be very frustrated with him. Decent standard player, without a doubt. But I don't like that minutes guarantee in the slightest, and I feel like if we're to complete any form of deal with Chelsea, there will be something that stacks the deck very heavily in their favour, and it removes control from Leeds United, which is not what we need in a second season. In a second season, we need as much control over our own situation as possible, because if we don't do that, things fall over. And if things start to fall over, you get in that little doom spiral that things tend to lead to when you're a Premier League club in the second season, because this was covered a hell of a lot by Daniel Farke, who effectively warned against everything can go wrong, let's not have it go wrong. So let's keep a very, very, very close eye on that, shall we? And in addition to that, the bit that I would say scares me the most is that he hasn't played competitive football. Rice has a shot, hold on. Oh, just wide. In 20 months. Over a year. Approaching 2. And sure, he might have been doing strength training, he might have been doing various fitness bits, he might have been doing whatever kind of thing you want, whatever makes you feel better about the fact that he could have a bit of fitness about him. But that doesn't mean that he knows what it's like to be in a situation in a match. Like, at the end of the day, someone that can run the London Marathon is fit. They're not match fit. He might be a player that has a lot of potential, but there is always going to be a question mark around how much has that potential slipped and fallen and gotten away from him based on the fact that he's not played in forever. Sure, he's probably a nice enough guy. But at the same time, is the potential for breaching our famed no dickhead rule when there's been several times where he's gone out at people on Twitter who criticise the way that he plays. The entire thing feels risky. Feels unwise, I would say. And he could be one of the best players that Leeds United have ever signed. Fine, whatever. Because in theory, anyone could be based on their level of potential from when they were a bit younger. But it's that massive gap in having not played for such a long time that scares me off it. On this, it's good to be fast, but at the same time, we're not starting Dan James, and we have fast. So I don't know how I feel on that one. I think we would probably be better served by going to one of the players that is further down on our list. One of the players that is maybe not as big of a name, but has actually played some football and has some returns. Because even when he was actively playing, his returns weren't great. Like for Chelsea, 53 appearances, he scored 5 times. It's not brilliant, and this is a period where Chelsea weren't that bad, to be honest with you. Ukraine, 28 appearances, 3 goals. Again, Ukraine aren't a bad side. They get chances. And it makes me feel like potentially signing a player for the prospect that they were, as opposed to the prospect that they can be. Which feels dangerous, and I would rather we not do that and risk ourselves effectively for what is going to be developing a Chelsea player. Facundo Bonata shouldn't have been signed on loan once he joined Chelsea. That should have been it. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Gareth Bale without the goals. Yeah, I think Facundo Bonanote should have been a lesson to us, and it should have been a lesson that if you're signing someone on loan, make sure that they are performing to a very, very solid standard. And in my personal opinion, we won't get that standard out of Mikhailo Mudryk. We'll see where he goes, but Farke won't play him for at least 4 to 6 months. Says he needs to work harder in training and get up to wires, but then he'll play Dan James. Yeah, but that's the thing. Dan James, we know he gives a shit in training. We know he's got the right mindset to him. That's sort of the difference to me. He's not an improvement on Okafor. Yeah, I mean, that's genuinely fair enough. Like, I've seen a lot of people sort of glazing him in the last day or so, and it's like, I mean, he's a solid winger. I don't personally believe he's worth all of the frenzy that's been whipped up a little bit. I don't know. I'm caught in 2 different directions, to be honest with you. And I would also probably just like someone more permanent if we can do it. If we can get someone that is genuinely good permanently, then that'd be ideal. But then again, I'm of the opinion that if we're doing Liam Delap, like a load of people seem to feel like we will, then for the exact same fee you can get Rafa Leao. And then someone on Twitter said, "Oh really? Point to me the players that are better value." And it's like, the fucking Portugal's key man. That one. But at the same time, need a left back, maybe a striker/10. We don't know what sort of direction we're going in. General word is that we're potentially looking at 3 to 4 more, which is fine enough, to be honest. We can get that done with relative ease. When does the window close? The 2nd of September? I know it's a Tuesday, because I know that I don't have 7 aside, which means that I will probably do a 1st of September. Which means that we'll probably do a reasonably long stream for it, because I like my transfer deadline streams. They're good fun. I enjoy it. But we got plenty of time, I think, to get 3 or 4 deals done. I wouldn't mind it being 3, one of them being a goalkeeper, one of them being probably someone that can play across the front line. So winger, 10, striker. Someone that could do sort of all of it would be quite nice. And then left back. I think left back is going to be a fairly important one, because I don't know how Lianu is going to be perceived for this season. I hope he does quite well, but I don't know whether he's that sort of level yet. Anyway, I'm probably going to leave that stream there, because I've not got a ton of energy right now, I'll be honest, and I need to record some form of preview. Or do I stream the preview? Leeds v Forest preview. I'm tempted to stream it, because then I can sort of bounce off people and answer questions. There we go. Quick poll before I close in the chat. Do I stream my preview tomorrow, or do I do a video that comes out first thing in the morning? I don't know. Get a yellow tie for deadline day. Oh, you're tempting me now. I was tempted to get a pilot's hat for the most recent fly-alongs as well, which is quite fun. Okay, general direction is looking like stream at the moment, which is fine by me. I'm more than happy to do that. I'll need to work out what I'm doing for a video tonight, but I will do that anyway, because a lot of the time that is a last minute, let's see what idea I can pop together. Which I hope you can't tell too much. Told you I was tired. Anyway, I'm going to end that stream roughly there. If you enjoyed, please pop a like on it. That's always massively appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Become a channel member. All that fun kind of stuff. I'm going to leave that there. I hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you later. Doodaloo.